Hello lovely people, welcome to Brown Strings. I'm Henriette and this is lesson 18 in the violin class for beginners. And in this lesson today we're going to carry on our work on slurring that we've started in lesson 17. And we're also going to finish our study number 2, which you can find on page 17 if you have a red book. And this is called Etude number 3 on page 8 if you've got an older version of this book. So let's get your violin and let's get started. And we're going to warm up our fingers a little bit, and we're going to slur 4 notes to a bow, and we're going to alternate finger 1 and finger 2. And I'll show you how that goes. So we're going to start on finger 1 and we're going to do so you might count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then play the next bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Will you join me? Here we go. And what I'd like you to add to your playing today is that you're going to tap this second finger a little bit onto the fingerboard. You can perhaps hear the rattling on my fingerboard when I do that. Can you hear that? And I get that rattling sound because I lift up my finger really high. So I pretend I've got a little rubber band here over the top of my finger and I'm pulling on it, and then I let it spring back, and that's how it falls back onto the string. So let's practice that, shall we? Same notes, fingers 1 and 2, 3, 4. Keep going. Awesome, that's very good. Now can we do the same thing with fingers 2 and 3? And that's good. And remember that your third finger comes down right next to the second finger, so there's no space between those two. Let's do it again. Start on 2 and keep going. All right, well done. And this time we're still playing the same fingers 2 and 3, and we're going to pretend that we're going to pull that little rubber band and pull your third finger up as high as you can and then let it fall down onto the string. Watch out also that your little finger is up here, it's not there, it's hovering. Okay, same exercise, fingers 2 and 3, and again. Awesome, very good. Now I would like to make that a little bit more challenging, and we're going to play 3, 2, 3, 1. So fingers 3, 2, 3, 1, which will sound like this. And 3, 2, 3, 1. Will you join me? Here we go. And again. You've hopefully also placed your fingers together, fingers 2 and 3. You see they come down as one item. Shall we practice that again? 3 and again. That's really clever if you managed that. Very good. And now we're practicing 2, 1, 2, A, 2, 1, 2, A. Remember, when you start on your second finger, both first and second fingers are on the string. So this is my starting point. Okay, here we go. And both fingers down together. Let's do that again. Oh, now that's woken up your fingers really beautifully. And now I will play you the second half of our study of our etude. So you may remember the point where we finished in our previous lesson, which was about in the middle of your piece. And now we're going to start from, in my book, that is the end of line 3, where the quaver notes begin, or the 8th notes. Okay, I'll play it for you first. Now that is a whole long string of notes, and I'm hoping that you have been able to follow my playing in your music so that you know where we were. Shall we give it a go all together then? We can't really play much more slowly, because if we go too slow playing this, then we will fall over, because the bow is not long enough to fit in 4 notes, you see. So this is a little bit like slow cycling. If you learn to cycle, you mustn't go too slow because you fall over. And this is just the same thing. So have a reasonable pace, and then you might miss a couple of notes, but at least you can fit it all onto the bow. So let's go on the quavers, or the 8th notes, after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Long again. Now, I can totally understand if you found that way too difficult, and that's absolutely fine. We are in no rush to get this done by the end of today, but what we've done is we've started a process of you learning slightly longer pieces and slightly more complicated pieces, and that will come. That takes a little while before you get your head around it, and I'm sure that very nearly everyone who's played this with me just now will have made a mistake somewhere. So please don't be put off if you have managed only part of this, playing this along. Alright, so what are we going to look out for when we practice this? First of all, as you will have noticed, you need long bows, because otherwise you won't fit 4 notes on those bows. So make sure you play right from the point to right to the heel. You want to use absolutely every bit of the bow that you've got. Secondly, you'll want to make sure that your hand stays in this nice hand shape all the time, because if your hand starts to do that, your playing is going to go out of tune and you'll want to stop because you need to correct your notes. So the more you can practice this and stay in that shape, the better it is. Now, for any human being, that is rather a lot to remember at the same time, both using long bows and leaving your hand position the same. So I'd like you to choose one of these two, either the bow or the left hand position, that you're going to work on a little bit and focus on in the next playing. For most brains, that is too much to do together. At least it would be for my simple brain. Okay, so pick one of those two aspects, either the bow or the left hand, that you're going to focus on. And now we're just going to play 4 bars. And let's see if you find that easier to manage. So take your pick. You're either going to focus on using long bows or on keeping your hand shape the same. 1 and 2 and... And that's enough for now. So I'm hoping that most people will have been able to join me up to that point. Tell me in the comments below if that's not the case, but I would assume that most people will have done that. So if you've just been focusing on your longer bows, this time when we play the same section again, let's forget about the bow and not think about it at all. Let's just think about this hand shape here and that you try to keep it the same. On the other hand, if you just in a previous playing have been focusing on your hand shape, try to shift the focus now towards the bow and try to use slightly longer bows. Here we go. 1 and 2 and... Very well done. So now you've played it twice with a different focus. So you have improved both your bowing and your left hand a little bit. Well done. Very good. Now let's have a look at 1 bar at a time now of the section that follows. So I'm now playing the last bar of the 4th line. And this one goes like this. So our fingers are going to go 3, 2, 3, 1. That in itself for most people is quite tricky. So let's practice just this half. 3, 2, 3, 1 is your fingering. And if you find that too much, then let's play separate bows just to get those fingers going. Here we go, separate bows. And do that again. Good. Now let's see if we can slur 4 notes together. And that's better, isn't it? Shall we do it again? Let's do it 3 times in a row, just these 4 notes. And awesome, well done. Now let's look at the second half of this bar. So we're on the 4th line, the last bar, the second half of that last bar. So our fingers are going to be 2, 1, 2, 0. Let's play those notes separate bows first. And again. And let's play these 4 notes slurred, shall we? And again. And now let's join up all of the notes in this bar. And awesome, very good. Have a look now at the next bar, and you will probably have noticed that this bar is exactly the same, and I like that a lot when we get similar bars because I have already practiced it and now I can benefit from it twice. So let's now join up these two the same bars. So we're starting at the end of line 4 and then we'll play the first bar of line 5. Here we go. And lovely job. Now you will have noticed if you have an older version of this book, these bars also have a big slur all the way over the top, as if you were going to slur 8 notes to a bow. Please don't do that. Let's stick with 4. That is challenging enough for most people. So well done for tackling this difficult section here. Let's go into the second bar of the last line now, which goes like this. So take a look at your notes. They go 1, 2, A, 2. 1, 2, A, 2. Shall we just practice this bar? If you count back from the end, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4th bar from the end. 1, 2, 0, 2 is your fingering. And awesome. That one somehow seems easier, doesn't it, than what we've done before. Just bear in mind that when you go from A to 2, you place both fingers on the string together. So you're not playing only with the second finger on the string, but both of them go on. Let's play the same bar again. And good. And now our last bar of quavers, or of 8 notes, go 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 3. So you will have noticed it's twice the same. Let's practice this bar. And starting on 2. And again, here at the end, when you play 1, 3, both the second and third fingers come down together. Let's play the same bar again. And awesome, very good. Now, there's one thing that I need to bring to your attention, and that is this bar that we practiced last begins on a second finger, but the bar before this one finishes on the second finger. So you get a repeated note, 2, 2, just there. That is going from the 4th bar from the end into the 3rd bar from the end. Just bear in mind that there's a repeated note there. Now, I want you now to get back to where the quavers or the 8 notes begin. So this is our section for today. And let's join it up all together, shall we? Now we're going to go at this pace. And I'll count us in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. fantastic. Haven't you got a lot better at this? Really, really well impressed with your progress there. Now, what we'll do is in our next lesson, we come back to this study or this etude. Because there's a lot in it, and now that we know the notes, we want to get out of it a little bit more. So I can't wait to see you at that lesson. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today, and I can't wait to see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.